Good morning, everyone. I am in disbelief of how awesome this weather has been in Michigan. Feels like it's summertime. It really does. I love it. So I'm gonna wait for a few people to get in here so I can give you guys a Tuesday morning update. It causes me to be very, very optimistic. Well, I've been optimistic for the last 3 or 4 days. And every day that goes on, I continue to get more and more optimistic. And all of you should be growing in optimism as well. If you're on the Republican side, if you're on the side of patriotism, if you're on the side of fair elections, if you're on the side of America, if you're on the side of truth, if you're on the side of everything being done in the light and not hidden in the darkness, if you're on the side of all those things, you should be feeling extremely, extremely optimistic right now. And if you're not feeling extremely optimistic right now about President Donald J. Trump being certified as president re-elect, good morning, Robin Barnes, my homegirl Robin, always good seeing you. If you guys are not, oh, happy belated birthday, by the way, Robin. I already wished you a happy birthday on credit last week. So now I'm giving you a happy birthday late payment, because you know how we do it. We do things on credit and then we do late payments. So happy birthday on credit and happy birthday on late payment. I love Robin Barnes. So if you guys are on the side of all those things I just mentioned, you should feel extremely optimistic, okay? And I'm gonna give you reason to be optimistic if you're not. Let your man Bobby Hesley get you there. What I tell you guys last week, I told you that I'm gonna be your voice of optimism, your voice of hope, your voice of enlightenment, and the voice of reason through all this craziness that's going on. So allow me to do my job. So let me start with the fact that one of the most influential political news sites on the internet, and they're a very influential site. Yes, it's part of the media, but I consider them fair and balanced because they welcome both viewpoints. They have liberal articles, they have conservative articles. They kind of welcome every viewpoint on their website, and I've always kind of liked that because it's very balanced. But have any of you ever heard of Real Clear Politics? Throw up a 1 if you've ever heard of Real Clear Politics, if you guys are familiar with that news site. Go ahead and throw up your 1s. Okay, so we got some people familiar with Real Clear Politics. Well, if you guys are not familiar with Real Clear Politics, after this video, not during the video, because I want you to pay attention, class, visit realclearpolitics.com because they just pulled their calling of Pennsylvania for Joe Biden. They just took back Pennsylvania. They have no longer called Pennsylvania for Joe Biden. And according to Real Clear Politics, who's always been very accurate on election cycles, Joe Dewey defeats Truman Biden is now down to 259 electoral college votes. He just lost 20 electoral college votes now that they pulled Pennsylvania. The media, the fake news media, is even starting to lose confidence in their premature calling of this race. That's right, Glenda. Trump, 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 Trump. There are media outlets that are starting to pull back, guys. There are media outlets that are starting to realize that they got a little bit ahead of themselves and they have a future. They don't want to go down as news media organizations that prematurely called a race when they shouldn't have, because all the counts weren't tallied up, because all the fraud hadn't been exposed yet. They're thinking about their financial future, guys. They're thinking about their future sponsors that may not want to spend all their millions of dollars with a fake news outlet that prematurely calls an election. And they're starting to adjust to reality. They're starting to adjust to the reality and to the possibility that this thing ain't over, that this thing is far from over, and that Joe Biden is not the winner of the 2020 presidential election yet. And I predict that other news media outlets are going to start following suit. Real Clear Politics led by example, and other media outlets are going to start following that example because they have to look out for their bottom line. They have to look out for their future credibility. And people respect you when you acknowledge that you're wrong. I said in a few videos ago that you have more trust and more credibility with your audience, readers, whatever you want to call it, when you're willing to admit that you're wrong. That's why people trust you. Guys, on the morning of November 4th, before I went down to the TCF Center and saw all the fraud that was going on back there, I legitimately thought Joe Biden won. I really did. I thought, man, I went to bed thinking he was ahead. He was ahead when I went to bed, and I woke up and he was ahead of Trump. I thought, man, all those mail-in ballots must have been legit Democrat ballots. But that was before I saw the fraud. So I took that video down. I made a public apology to everybody, and I ate crow, which again is low in carbs. So it wasn't going to kick me out of ketosis. It wasn't going to screw with keto because crow is low in carbs. It's considered poultry. And ever since then, I've been waiting for the facts to come out. And I feel like I've more than made up for the mistake that I made on the morning of November 4th, because nobody has been fighting harder for Trump than I have lately. I've been putting myself out there. I've been making a fool of myself. Even as recently as last night, I was on a radio show with my good friend Brandon Bryce, Straight Talk 9:10 a.m. And I was being savaged by black Detroiters. I'll talk more about that towards the end of the video. You guys definitely want to hear that interview. I had black Detroiter after black Detroiter call in and bite my head off. And it was a pretty funny interview, actually. But that's what's going on, guys. This thing is far from over, guys. It is far, far from over. So let me give you guys some updates. It's funny how Democrats are so desperate to shut down this election. And if you guys listen to my interview on Straight Talk Radio, the people who are calling in were no different. They're saying, oh, just accept the loss, Bobby. Just accept it. Just accept it. Just accept it. Just accept it. When in actuality, yesterday is the very first day that all of these coordinated lawsuits took action yesterday, because it took us over a week to gather all the proof of this fraud because the fraud was so extensive. These things take time, guys. And what befuddles me is that these same Democrats that are trying to force us Republicans to just shut up and accept it and go away are the same Democrats who had no problem back in the year 2000 with Al Gore contesting this thing for 37 days. And that was only over one county. He held up the entire electorate over one county in Florida, Broward County. We have 6 or 7 different states that we are contesting. And yesterday was the very first day that we did it. So let me give you an update on each of these states. And let me walk away from this blower here so you guys don't hear all this loud noise. So let's start. So Pennsylvania is still in play. Real Clear Politics just pulled calling Pennsylvania for Biden. So Pennsylvania is back up in the air. There's 20 electoral votes right there that are going to be coming our way that I am very confident are going to be coming our way. Why am I confident of that? 2 things. 1, news media outlets are starting to pull Joe Biden's victory there. But number 2, don't forget, guys, last week, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court ruled that all ballots that arrived after 8 p.m. on November 3rd have to be segregated and audited. And those ballots are going to be thrown out, guys. We had a 700,000 lead in Pennsylvania. Then all of a sudden, all these ballots started showing up late into the night. Republican poll watchers were not allowed in to watch those ballots be counted. And all of a sudden, our 700,000 lead shrank to us being behind by over 100,000 votes. How could they jump 800,000 or 900,000 votes in one night with a bunch of ballots that came in after the election deadline? Guys, we are a nation of laws, rules, systems, processes, and protocols. And the fact is, you cannot count votes after an election. And we're not trying to challenge people's votes. There's a difference between votes being counted and ballots being counted. It is unconstitutional to count ballots that come in after the election deadline. Why? Because they're not votes. When it comes to votes, Donald Trump is killing Joe Biden in Pennsylvania. But when it comes to ballots, fake ballots that came in after the election deadline after 8 p.m. on November 3rd, of course Biden's going to pull ahead. And why is it that all those ballots that came in after 8 p.m. on November 3rd are favoring Joe Biden? How come none of those ballots are for Trump? They're such sloppy cheaters, guys. They're trying to make it obvious that they're cheating. They don't care how obvious it is. You would think if they wanted to be crafty that they would put some votes for Trump, they would put some votes for some other candidates, then they'll slip in some Biden votes. At least make it close. But don't make it this blowout where every single ballot goes for Joe Biden. That's just desperate, it's sloppy, and it's amateur. I thought you Democrats were better cheaters than that. With all the history of fraud and corruption you guys have in all these inner city precincts, I thought you guys were better at cheating than that. I thought you were cleaner and more devious than that. But I guess not, and it's going to cost you this election. The fact is, guys, all of you Democrats that are telling us that we don't accept the outcome of this election, that we're sore losers, you're looking in the mirror when you say that. You know why? You Democrats are the ones who can't accept the outcome of this election. Because that's why you're cheating. Because you know you can't beat us fair and square. That's why you guys had all these fake ballots sitting in boxes for months, I believe. These ballots that have been showing up have been sitting in boxes for months. Because months ago, you guys decided you weren't going to accept the outcome of this election. Months ago, you guys were being sore losers. You knew you weren't going to win this thing. And you knew that you were going to weaponize and politicize this COVID pandemic to benefit you guys in this election, to where you can use Department of Health Services like Michigan did at the TCF Center to give excuses to why Republican poll workers can't be let in. But I guess COVID can't tell the difference between Democrats and Republicans. I guess if you're a Republican, you run the risk of bringing COVID into the building. But if you're a Democrat, you can come and go as you damn well please, because that's what happened at the TCF Center. And there are 130 signed affidavits just from poll workers in Detroit. My good friend Christina Caramo was working inside there. She saw all kinds of stuff that she's going to be talking about. My good friend Angelique Johnson worked inside of there. We know what we saw, guys. We know what we saw. So Pennsylvania is no longer firmly in Biden territory. Damn right, that's damn right, Jonathan Palmerville. Guys, follow Jonathan Palmerville, man. He is the ultimate distributor of street justice in Brightmoor, Detroit, where I grew up. Do not dump your crap. Do not think you can roll through Brightmoor and illegally dump your tires and all your crap throughout Brightmoor, because if you do, you're going to be paid a visit by Brightmoor Batman, and his name is Jonathan Palmerville. So follow that guy. Follow my boy. Now let's move on to Wisconsin. Wisconsin, we got some good news there. There's another quote-unquote glitch in Wisconsin. And get this, guys. Now that this glitch has been corrected, as soon as this glitch was corrected, this glitch that only seems to favor Joe Biden and nobody else, get this, guys. We were able to successfully correct a glitch in Wisconsin, and 19,500 votes were flipped back to number 45. President Donald J. Trump has just made the state of Wisconsin a neck-and-neck race. Biden's lead has been decimated in Wisconsin. Biden's fake lead has been eliminated in Wisconsin, and we are now back within striking distance in the state of Wisconsin. And get this, guys, once this glitch was fixed and we gained those 20,000 votes back, we haven't even started recounting yet in Wisconsin. We haven't even started recounting yet. So once we get these recounts and these audits going, I predict that Wisconsin flips for us. So don't lose hope, guys. This is why you guys need to be confident. Now let's move on to Michigan, where I'm from, and where many of you watching are from. I love Michigan. Schizophrenic weather and all. I love everything about Michigan. Speaking of glitches, we just had another quote-unquote glitch fixed, and it finally attributed 6,000 votes back to Donald Trump. There was a glitch that happened in a certain county up here in Michigan, and it's the software that all 47 counties used in Michigan. And there was a glitch that took 6,000 Republican votes for Donald Trump, and they flipped them to Jim Crow Joe. Well, we just fixed that glitch, and we just got those 6,000 votes back. But that ain't where it ends, folks. You know, you want to hear where it gets better? here in the Great Lakes state of Michigan, the Motor City, the D, the home of the big three. Well, get this. The GOP is currently suing to where all 47 counties who use that faulty, fake, pro-Biden software, that all of those glitches be fixed. And all of those Republican votes that were stolen and flipped over to Jim Joe, that they come back to us. And again, guys, this is before the recount happens. So you got to realize there's two phases. There's the glitch fixing phase, where we fix all those glitches and attribute those disenfranchised Republican votes back to their rightful destinations where they should have been gone originally. Once we get all those glitches fixed, we're probably going to pull ahead when that happens. We're going to pull ahead when that happens. But that's just phase one. Phase two is once we fix those glitches, then we let the recounts begin. Then we let those legal constitutional recounts that we all have a right to do. Donald Trump is completely within his rights to challenge these, to fix these glitches, to have recounts. He's not breaking any laws. It's in the laws of our republic. Donald Trump is exercising what I call his Al Gore rights. How you like that, Democrats? Donald Trump is exercising his Al Gore rights to do recounts. We learned it from you guys. You taught us well, you Democrats. You taught us well about how to not accept the outcome of an election. You taught us well about how to do recounts. You taught us well about how to sue and prosecute voter fraud. You taught us well. So thanks for the lesson on that. Thanks for teaching us the last 3.5 years about how to not accept the outcome of an election. Thanks a lot for that, guys. It's going to come back to bite you. Speaking of Michigan, let me just show you how scared the Democrats are running right now. You want proof that the Democrats are running scared in all these states that they thought they won, that they thought the fake Dewey defeats Truman news media could help them get away with? Let's stay on the topic of Michigan. So Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel sent a cease and desist order to a journalist demanding that they remove their Detroit voter fraud training video. Guys, if you go to Gateway Pundit, you could find a video of poll workers that were bragging about committing fraud. And it's a damning video. And these were Detroit poll workers that are on tape bragging about all the fraud that they're committing. In Detroit, guys. And an attorney general is demanding a cease and desist for that video. They are trying to kill that video. They are trying to bury that video. So what I need you guys to do is go to that Gateway Pundit website of this attorney general, that this attorney general is trying to get shut down, and I want you guys to pull that video. I want you guys to download that video, record the video, screenshot it, play the video, and record it with your phone. Whatever you got to do to get that video before it gets taken down. Of Detroit poll workers bragging about voter fraud. And this is what saddens me, guys. Because this is the same old Democrat Party that weaponizes black people against other black people. These are black people on tape bragging about stealing and disenfranchising the votes of other black people. Just like back in the old days of slavery, they used to put blacks at war with each other. Why do you think in the black community there's always been so much infighting these last few centuries? Why is it that us black people can never get along with each other? Because we've been conditioned for many years by the Democrat Party to see each other as enemies. Because the Democrat Party cannot have a united and unified black population. Why do you think the Democrat Party fights so hard to engage in black population control? I believe that since Planned Parenthood was founded, it was originally called the Negro Project. Margaret Sanger was a sworn eugenicist that saw the black race as an inferior race. And they have been working hard to abort and contracept us out of existence for the last 100 years. And it seems kind of counterintuitive, because people ask me, well, Bobby, you're talking out of both sides out of your mouth. Because out of one side of your mouth, you're saying that Democrats need the black vote. But on the other side of your mouth, you're saying that Democrats are trying to exterminate black people. So how are they going to have a black vote if they're exterminating all of us? Good question. Shall I answer? I shall. The goal of the Democrat Party is not to exterminate and completely eliminate the black race. That is not their goal, because they truly would lose the black vote if they did that. The goal of the Democrat Party is to practice population control. They need to keep us at 13%, because they know that if they were to ease off the abortion pedal and get all their Planned Parenthood butcher houses, butcher shops out of our neighborhoods, and if we were to actually start reproducing at a rate that everybody else is reproducing and we stop aborting our own babies, we would grow too large and too numerous for the Democrat Party, and they would lose their control over us. When you guys get a chance, I want you to meditate on Exodus chapter 1, verse 8. The Democrats are modern day pharaohs. And if you read the opening sentences of the book of Exodus, particularly Exodus 1, verse 8, read Exodus 1, 8 through 22. It talks about how Pharaoh grew fearful over the number of the Hebrews. He was afraid that all these Hebrews, that all these Jews and Israelites that were reproducing in Egypt, that if they would continue to reproduce at the pace they were, that they would grow too numerous and that they would rise up against the Egyptians. So he said, let us enslave them, lest they become too numerous for us. The Democrat Party lives in fear of the black population. They fear us, guys. And because of that fear, they try to keep us small, because they knew that if we grew past 13%, that we would overthrow them and that we would leave their party. That's why abortion is so important to Democrats. That's why Democrats fight so hard to be able to abort black babies, because they are modern day pharaohs that want to keep us in slavery so that we don't grow too numerous for them. So read Exodus 1, verse 8 when you get a chance. Now let's move on to Arizona. Arizona, get this, Arizona has shrank to 30,000 votes. They were pulling way ahead. We got them down to only being 30,000 votes ahead. And get this, guys, there are still 173,000 votes that are going to be recounted in Arizona. And that's going to put us ahead in Arizona, guys. We're getting Pennsylvania back. We're getting Wisconsin back. I'm confident we might get Michigan back. We're getting Arizona back. We're winning this thing, guys. We are winning. And the Democrats are losing. And they know it. The Democrats are losing, guys. So my question for you Democrats is this. Where is your pride and confidence in your candidate? Why are you so eager and desperate to shut down this investigation of this election? Why are you so eager for the fake news to prematurely declare Joe Biden the winner before all the votes can even be tabulated? You guys don't sound very confident to me. And if you're confident in your victory, and your supposedly clean victory, if you're confident in the legitimacy of this, why are you not welcoming investigations? That's my question. For the next 4 years, don't you want to put to rest any and all doubt that you guys won this legitimately? Let's say that Biden gets in there and you get your first black female president, because Biden ain't even going to be there long. And I hate to say it, but we'd be lucky if the guy even survives long enough to be inaugurated. That guy is on his last legs. Death is at the door for Joe Biden. And I just want to say for the record that Joe Biden is not entitled to a Catholic funeral, and he is not entitled to a Catholic burial, because Joe Biden is an excommunicated heretic who does not belong to the one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church. He has chosen abortion over Catholicism. He has chosen liberalism over Catholicism. He has chosen money, greed, power, and corruption over his first love, Jesus Christ. He is not a member of the Catholic Church. He is under what's known as latae sententia excommunication. And as a heretic, as an excommunicated heretic, he is not entitled to a Catholic funeral. He is not entitled to a Catholic burial. And any priest or bishop who buries Joe Biden with a Catholic funeral or a Catholic burial is a Judas priest and a Judas bishop. And I call for their excommunication as well. I just thought I'd say that real quick. But if Kamala Harris gets in there, why would you guys be okay with her entire presidency being haunted and overshadowed with the fact that it was stolen? Don't you want your first black woman president to be firmly and legitimately and legally and cleanly declared president of the United States? Why are you guys trying to take away her victory? Why are you trying to rob her of the legitimacy of her victory by trying to shut down this investigation? Where's your confidence? Shouldn't you be confident enough that you guys are able to win without cheating? Shouldn't you guys be confident enough that you're able to win without the fake news media prematurely declaring him a winner, when in actuality, the winner of the presidency is not certified until December 14th, because that's how our founding fathers set it up? We're still a month away. We're more than a month away from the president being certified as president-elect, whoever won it. So why are you guys prematurely robbing Kamala Harris of a legitimate, clean victory? Why are you guys setting her up to have the George W. Bush cloud floating over her presidency? Because if you guys remember, and if you don't, I'll remind you, George W. Bush was never able to live down the fact that he, quote unquote, stole the election. The Democrats would not shut up for the entire presidency of George Bush because he won with the Electoral College instead of winning with the popular vote. And everybody thought that he stole the election. So everything that Bush did, the media would go out of their way to paint it as illegal and as illegitimate because their guy was still Al Gore. They still didn't get over the fact that Al Gore lost. Even during 9/11, when we got attacked by radical jihadi terrorists, there were people in the media saying that they didn't want to be defended by a commander-in-chief who stole the election because they couldn't accept the outcome of the 2000 election because of the recounts. Why are you guys setting up Kamala Harris to have an illegitimate presidency? Don't you want your black female, your double minority who's black and female, to not have to hear that for 4 years? Huh? Think about that, guys. You're not doing her a favor. Why don't you let us investigate? Well, there's no matter of you letting. The courts are forcing you guys to break open the books now. And that's why you're running scared. Because the darkness fears the light. The darkness does not like sunlight. You guys are like a bunch of Dracula vampires during sunrise. You guys remember the movie with Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt? What's the name of that movie again, guys? Dang, it's one of my favorite movies. It was a vampire movie with Brad Pitt, and it was an Anne Rice novel. Throw it in the comments, guys. What's the name of that movie? I can't believe I'm blanking on it right now. What's the movie with Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise where they were vampires? You guys remember? Anyway, I'm sure I'll see it in the comments soon. But there was this movie with Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise. It was a great movie. They were vampires. And whenever sunrise would hit, this vampire colony that they lived in, they would all scramble to get back in their coffins so that the sunlight doesn't kill them. Whenever sunrise would hit, they would all just scramble. Whatever they were doing, they would just drop what they're doing. Interview with the Vampire. Thank you. Duh. I've seen that movie I don't know how many millions of times, and I can't believe that I blanked on it. But guys, go back and watch Interview with the Vampire. When you watch that movie, it's going to remind you of Democrats when all the truth comes knocking at the door. When all the courts, when all the investigations, when all the recounts, when all the glitch fixes, when all that sunlight shows up at the door, these Democrat vampires go scrambling to their coffins because they cannot stand the light. The light is deadly to them. The light will kill them. And they can't stand the light. They thrive in darkness. They must live in darkness because their evil deeds can only be done in darkness. But their evil deeds, their evil, fraudulent, election-stealing deeds are being exposed by the light in multiple states. You're being exposed in Michigan. You're being exposed in Pennsylvania. So much to the point where one of the most influential political websites has recalled Joe Biden as the winner. He is no longer the winner in Pennsylvania. You're losing in Wisconsin. And don't even get me started on Nevada, guys. Don't even get me started about how we're starting to pull back ahead in Nevada. You're losing in Arizona. You are losing. The sunlight is taking over. So the bottom line is this. Us Republicans are not the sore losers. Donald Trump is not a sore loser. You Democrats are the sore losers. And you guys were sore losers, I believe, 90 days ago, 120 days ago. You guys were setting this up back when I was still in Thailand, when I was still a stranded COVID refugee in the Orient. You guys already had this operation in place. It all makes sense now. You guys were so confident that you could steal this election that Joe Biden didn't even give it a shot. He didn't campaign. The Biden campaign, the Biden-Harris 2020 campaign, is the worst presidential campaign in history. The guy stayed in the basement the whole time. The guy didn't even feel the need to watch his mouth. He could say racist statement after racist statement that if you don't support me, you ain't black. When I hung out with these black kids, they taught me about roaches. Unlike in the black community, there's no diversity of thought, whereas in the Latino community, there is. You know what he did there? He was flirting with the Latino vote in front of his black girlfriend. Hey, women, you ever been on a date with a guy and the guy you're on a date with flirts with other women in your presence? They flirt with the waitress, they flirt with somebody else, and you're just sitting right there like, what the heck are you doing? Are you kidding me? Did you seriously just hit on a woman right in front of me? That's what Joe Biden did with the Latino votes. He's got his black girlfriend that they've had for 60 years that he's taken for granted. And this hot Latino chick walks up and he flirts with the Latino chick right in front of us. That's what he did when he made that there's no diversity. Unlike in the black community, there's no diversity of thought. That's like him saying, man, my black girlfriend, she can't cook that good, but I bet you could cook. I bet you can cook better than my black girlfriend. That's what Biden did. And you guys voted for him in spite of that. I'm really disappointed. What does Joe Biden have to say to get you guys to not vote for him? We can do better than this, people. We can do better. But the bottom line is, if the Democrats were not sore losers, they would not be doing what they're doing. They are trying to take over our electorate. They're trying to turn it into a banana republic, and it ain't going to work. And I believe, I'm truly starting to believe this, guys. I'm truly starting to believe that this is Donald Trump's final promise that he is keeping to us. Promises made, promises kept. He promised us the wall, he gave us the wall. He promised us an awesome economy, he gave us an awesome economy until he had to shut it down with COVID. He promised us with all kinds of progress that the black community would make. He gave us more progress than any other president since Abraham Lincoln. He promised that America would be first. Donald Trump is the first president in my lifetime who didn't go to war. He said, you know what? Screw war. We're sick of going to war. We're sick of sticking up for everybody else. We're sick of buttoning everybody else's business internationally. So you know what? America first. We're not going to war. And he didn't go to war. Name me one war that Trump went to, guys. He never went to war. He's not a warmonger. He's not part of the warfare state like Bush, Obama, Biden, and Clinton were part of. But what was another promise that he made us, guys? He also promised us that he was going to drain the swamp. He also promised us that he would be the very first president that would stand up to the fake news media. And I truly believe that this is Donald J. Trump's final promise that he's delivering on. This is his final promise that he's keeping, to drain the swamp of this electorate that has been running deep rot for the last 30 or 40 years. Look at the exposure of all this corruption that's been running deep in our electorate that Donald Trump is exposing, guys. Can you imagine Mitt Romney fighting the way Trump is fighting right now? Could you imagine any other Republican candidate? Could you imagine John McCain, God rest his soul? But could you imagine John McCain putting up the kind of fight that Donald Trump is putting up right now? I can't imagine any other Republican except Donald Trump fighting like this. He's the man. He's the man that we need in there to fight for us like that. And he's not only fighting for his Republican voters, but believe it or not, he's also fighting for you Democrats. Why? Because he's fighting for America. He's fighting for our electoral process so that when we Americans turn out to vote, that we can have full confidence that our votes are going to be counted, that we can have full confidence that our votes are not going to be disenfranchised. And if any party makes an attempt to throw the election, if any party makes an attempt to steal this election, that he is setting the precedent that they cannot get away with it. Because I don't believe they're going to get away with this, guys. Hold the line. Do not give up. Do not lose hope. Do not lose faith. Do not lose confidence or courage. This thing is far from over, and we are winning, guys. We're only on day 2 of this coordinated lawsuit effort throughout all these 6 or 7 states, and we're already pulling ahead like crazy in some of these states. So much to the point where media organizations are pulling back. Media organizations are pulling back. They pulled back Pennsylvania, guys. And I predict that before the week is over, we're going to see media organizations start to pull back other states that they thought Joe won. Why? Because all the exposure and all the sunlight is going to make all those fraudulent votes go away. They're all just going to melt away, guys. And we have Amy Coney Barrett. We have our Catholic mother of 7 waiting for us at the Supreme Court to be a constitutionalist should this thing go to the highest court of the land. So we got the Supreme Court waiting in the wings. But it has to work its way through these lower courts first, guys. That's the process. You can't just take something straight to the Supreme Court. You can't just say, I'm going to sue you. I'll see you in the Supreme Court tomorrow. No, that takes weeks. Lower courts have to make judgments before it can be kicked up to a higher court. And guys, I got to say, these lower courts are ruling in our favor. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court has already ruled in our favor, guys. I'm telling you, we got Pennsylvania. We are going to win Pennsylvania, guys. And if we win Pennsylvania, we win the election. So I'm excited, guys. Can you tell? I'm hopeful. Can you tell? I'm optimistic. Can you tell? And you should be too. All of you should be too. We have no reason for fear or doubt. We have no reason, guys. Throw up the number 1 if you're just as optimistic as me. Throw up a 1, guys. Let me see some 1s. Throw them up. I want everybody to throw up a heart emoji if you love President Trump. Let me see some hearts. Let me see some love emojis if you love number 45. Let's show 45 that we're still here from her. We're still here for him. We're still fighting for him. We still believe in him. We still support him. Throw up some laugh emojis, guys. Hit the laugh emoji if you're entertained by the fact that Joe Biden and the Democrats think they can still win this thing. Let me see some laughy faces. Look at all those laughy faces. That's right. So let me close, guys, by saying that whenever you're suffering personal attacks, you know you're doing something right. If you guys have the time, go to the post below this video. I was on an interview with my friend Brandon Bryce. He has his own radio show called Straight Talk on 9:10 a.m. I was on his show last night, and I had some pretty passionate, pretty angry black Detroiters calling into the show, giving me a piece of their minds, which they have a constitutionally protected right to do. I accept and respect their opinions. They were pretty disrespectful towards me. They wouldn't let me talk. And there was a woman who called in by the name of Grace. How you doing this morning, Grace? And I did something so right with her that the only comeback that she had is that I must be drinking the urine of prostitutes. You can't make this stuff up, guys. That's a first. I don't think I've ever been accused of drinking the urine of prostitutes. But when you hit people with fact after fact after fact, and all they can come back with is that you drink hooker urine, that's how you know you got them. Then there was another guy, Joe, I think his name was, which is kind of ironic given who his candidate is, named Joe. He wouldn't even let me talk. I think he was afraid for me to talk. Because Brandon, trying to be the fair referee that he was, he said, Joe. He had to keep stopping Joe. He's like, Joe, you got to let my guest talk. You got to give my guest a chance to respond. And Joe says, he ain't got no response because, it's a bunch of BS. No, Joe, it's not that I don't have a response. It's that you didn't want to hear my response. You were afraid to hear my response. So you were shouting me down and censoring me and karate chopping me in the throat and doing everything you could to keep me from responding. So listen to that show, guys. It was a pretty fun show. It was on fire. And I'm going to be in Orlando this week. I've got a good house sitter that'll be looking after my house because I'm making boss move, guys. Whether Trump wins, whether it's win, lose, or draw, no matter who's in the Oval Office, that ain't going to stop Bobby Hessley from pressing ahead with his goals. So I'm going to be down in Orlando with my boy Ryan Roddy. I'm going to be going through a rehab seminar about how to run a construction crew on flips. I'm trying to get better at flipping houses. So I'm going to be in nice sunny Orlando. So I'm pretty excited because we've had all this killer weather here in Michigan. And if it decides to get cold tomorrow, because we are getting rain tonight, I'll be in Orlando tomorrow. So it'll be nice weather. So I'll take you guys to Orlando with me. I'll be filming some videos from down there too. You're not going to stop hearing from Bobby Hessley. But guys, I'm only saying that. I'm only kind of not trying to put my business out there, but I'm only saying that to lead by example, guys. I want you to keep living your lives. I want all your plans that you had. It's like I said last week, guys. I want you to live your life as if Donald Trump won the election. Don't change your plans just because the fake news media prematurely declared Joe Biden the winner. We're fixing all that, guys. We're uncovering all that fraud that made them think he won. And we're going to win this thing. But if for some strange reason we don't win the thing, you should not let that stop you from living your best life, guys. Because no matter how powerful the president of the United States is, and the president of the United States, whoever they are the most powerful person on the planet. They're the leader of the free world. They're the commander-in-chief for the most powerful army on the planet. But whether it's Reagan, Bush, Obama, Clinton, Trump, Biden, Harris, it doesn't matter who the president is. They don't have a direct power over your life. They cannot determine the course of your life. The only way that the president of the United States can have a direct and immediate control over your life is if they were to bring back the military draft and round you up in a big truck and force you to go to war. That's the only way that the president can have a direct control over your life and determine the course of your life. But short of them bringing back the military draft, live your life, guys. I made all kinds of money under Barack Obama. But Obama didn't stop me from making money. He made it harder because I had to pay more taxes and there was more stupid regulations I had to deal with. But he didn't stop me. So all Trump can do is he can make it a little easier for you. He can lower your taxes. He can bring down the regulations. But guys, do not let the president determine the course of your life. So I love you guys. We're still in the game. It's far from over. We are winning, winning, winning. Our president continues to fight for us, and we need to continue to fight for him, guys. So I will see you guys in Orlando. Signing off.